Hi, welcome to today's training. In the last video, I explained the if loop function. I also explained the if else function. We use the if else if we have just one condition. If you have more than one condition, if you have one condition, you can also use the if loop. If you have more than one condition, you also use the if loop. So today I'm going to explain the for loop function. When you want to repeat a particular thing more than one time, you use the for loop function. You have a particular code or particular task you want to do, or you want to repeat it more than one time. So instead of you writing the code always, you can just use the for loop. So for example, I want to do X, so I have a function. Okay, I have scores of students in a class. Scores of students in a class, 25, 76, 65, 43, 87, 45. And I want to check, I want to get the grade of these students. Now, instead of me writing a code for the first student that got 25, another code for the second student that got 76, I can use the for loop. So for loop will take each number in this variable, give you the answer, go to the next one, give you the answer, go to the third one, give you the answer. So I want to use the for loop function. So this is how we do it. So I'll write for. I can use any letter I want. So now I want to use I. So for I in, we'll do 1 to length, the length of scores. So length of scores means the number of objects I have in scores. So that's what I'm doing. The number of objects I have in scores. So I have, let me run this first. So I want to run only length scores. So length scores means 6. So I have 6 numbers. So you can either write it yourself 6, this way 6, or you write length of scores so that arrow will do the counting for you. So the first, when you are using the for loop, you write for, you open a bracket, you choose a letter you want, and that's the letter you will use to iterate, to move from one object to another in the particular data set you're interested in. Then you open your curly bracket and click enter. So remember, we are using I. I want to pick the first, if I want to pick the first number, which is score, I already explained how to select a subset. If I want to select a subset, 25, so let me go back to, let me write it in line 341. If I want to select subset 25, what will I do? Scores, I'll put block bracket and 1, so which is 25. If I change what is in the block bracket to 2, it means I'm selecting 76. If I change what is in the block bracket to 5, I'm selecting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 87. So this is how to select subset. So I will use that idea to write my for loop. So I'll do. So let me do. So I want to combine both for loop and the if loop. So if scores block bracket I is moving from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6. So assume I is 1. So when I is 1, scores block bracket 1 is 25. When I becomes 2, it is 76. When I becomes 4, it is 43. So that's what I'm doing. So if scores block bracket I is greater than or equal to 70, what will happen? You open your curly bracket. If you don't know how to write the if loop, check my previous video before watching this so that you will know how to use the if loop. So I'm combining what I taught in my last video, the if loop and the for loop. So if scores is greater than or equal to 70, what will happen? Grade will be grade of the ith student will be A. So this is it. So I can create an empty set called grade. I want to create an empty set. So that's where I will store all the grade for all the students. So I will write vector and leave it empty. So I can do it this way, or I can do it this way. So what I'm doing is to create an empty set where I will store my results. I can do it this way, vector, numeric, and write this length, the size of the vector. The size of the vector will be the length of scores, which is 6. So both of them will do the same thing. Now the difference between this means I have already stated the length. So this is it. Another way to do this, okay, I think this is good. We can go with this. So this is it. So then what is my grade now? So this, oh no, I wrote only one condition for the if loop. So if this is grade is A, let me continue my if loop. Grade is A, else if if scores I, the second condition is, so this is the condition I'm using. So if I is greater than or equal to 60, what will happen? Grade I should be equal to B, else if scores I is greater than or equal to 50, grade I should be C. So the last condition, I will use else only. I won't open the normal bracket. I will use a curly bracket to write what the answer should be. Grade I should be G. Okay. So I will create an empty set, run, for loop, then my results. So this is it. So D is for 25, A is for 76, B is for 65, G is for 43, A is for 87, and G is for 45. So what do we use the for loop function? If you want to repeat a particular step many times, instead of you writing each code for each object, you can just use the for loop and iterate. So what this is doing is I will change when I is 1, I will know that I'm using 25. So the code will be used for 25. When I becomes 2, this is what I did there. So I thought sequence already. So this is what I'm doing. So this is 1 to 6. This is, I'm writing a sequence, 1 to 6. So it means I is going from 1 to 6. And I've explained here how to select a subset. So when it is 1, when this is 1, I'm selecting the first object in scores. When it is 4, I'm selecting a fourth object. And I is moving from 1 to 6. So this is the for loop. If you have any question, let me know. Thank you.